Testing sound, testing sound. 1, 2, 3. Testing sound. Thanks, Timid. Well, welcome everybody to Saint Croix, the Circuit de Saint Croix here in the beautiful country of France for the next round of the Deviant GT4 World Challenge. This is part of season 3.2 and it's round 6, the penultimate round of the championship. My name is Webbo, as you've probably gathered, but the championship positions as we currently stand are that taking into account a dropped race set of points, we have on 76 points Hyphy Honda. On 69, we have Huge Jar. They have one fastest lap each, but Hyphy Honda has taken 3 wins to Huge Jar's 2. We have on third place T-Deeds on 59. Those are the wonderful promotion positions there for the GT3 tournament. And then we have in fourth position on 42 points at the moment, Rutaz. On 36 in fifth place, Anatol, with Saito on 35, just 1 point ahead in seventh place of Thrasher. We have Lalo Kills on 32, Arcane on 30. Sully has 28. It's really close in the midfield. Curious Kai on 22. We have Devin on 21. With Silo and Golden Oracle in 13th and 14th position. We have a combined team standings, and that is for both GT3 and GT4 combined. We also have Slug, who scored 15 points total so far in the tournament, in the championship. Alfa Romeo are on top with 173 points as calculated total. We have 135 for Team Jaguar, only 2 points ahead of the Chevrolet team. Ferrari have 132 in fourth place. Then on 107, Lamborghini, 103, we have Peugeot. Renault bringing up the rear at the moment on 93 points. I can't wait to get going. Apparently, we have safety car lap on lap 14, which is fantastic. Thanks for the reminder there, Timid. And greetings to Anatol. If you are joining us, no spoilers, please. But if I do ask a kind of rhetorical question as such, and you know the answer, then feel free to go ahead and tell me. We also have the required tyre is the hard tyre. We are starting in the evening here, and we'll be going for 60 minutes of racing. But first, of course, we've got to take in the grid and do say hello. And if it's not obvious, tell me who you're here to watch or support. Always like to know where all of our drivers stand with regard to the situation with their fan base. So I'm just going to set up the screen, so please bear with me for a moment. I'm going to turn on the replay as well, and we'll get underway. I'm going to turn on the car name for the preview position. So let's have a look then at the liveries and all the way to the back of the grid. First of all, we have Kuros Kai in the Renault Megane Sport yellow and black livery to date. We have the Lamborghini, the blue Lamborghini of Silo in 13th position. Then we have Golden Oracle in a Red Bull edition livery to date. And we'll have a look a bit closer at the liveries as we get underway. That's Golden Oracle in 12th position. We have Deviant qualifying in 11th with our Saito there in the Wrigley livery, and the Peugeot team have always been impressing me with their new liveries every single race, new confectionery based liveries as well. So our Saito in P10, can't wait to see that car operating on track. Lalo Kills qualified in 9th position in the Alfa Romeo, the championship leading Alfa Romeo no less. Slug is representing Peugeot today, and then in 7th position qualifying in the Chevrolet is Root. We have Maxwell in the Jaguar, and he's gone pink and white today. Car number 8, Maxwell in 6th place. Thrasher qualifies for the Ferrari in the all-red Scuderia Ferrari colours of 5th position. Then we have Huge Jar showing in the gloss black of the Ferrari in 4th position and in a strong championship position, but with championship rival on the pole position at the moment. We have T-Deeds in the matte black Bang sponsored 3rd position. Then we have in qualifying up the front in unusual territory, perhaps the Renault team giving a little bit of a home engine boost here at Saint-Croix for Arcane then in the Renault. And then the pole position, no stranger here, the Takata sponsored Alfa Romeo of Hifi Honda. Well, let's get going, shall we, everybody? Can't wait to see what these drivers got up to, and we'll be commentating as live. Of course, I don't know the results, so I'm completely in the dark, as I imagine most of the drivers will be come the end of the race. Hope everyone's ready to get underway. This is the Deviant GT4 World Challenge, Season 3.2, Round 6 at Saint-Croix. The lights are on, it's time to go racing, time to build those revs and get underway. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Arcane with an immediate good launch, but seemed to be bogged down slightly with the orange Rexy's liveried car of Roux getting a good initial leap and up to the inside line going into turn 1, and it's Roux the man on the move, and he's got up to 4th position at the moment. Huge out with a better option for the traction on the way out of the corner, though he's putting 2 wheels out on the dry grass, thankfully for him, on this Saint-Croix beautiful bright sunny day. And Roux managing to get himself organised quite neatly, but lots of cars running wide. There goes Roux, just avoiding the Armco barrier, and unfortunately it's 0-0 for Roux, down to 6th position as Maxwell sneaks the bright pink liveried Jaguar through into 5th place. Huge Jar has stayed in 4th position. It's no change up at the front. Hifi Honda and Arcane managed to defend from T-Deeds here, the Drift King so far in this championship. Golden Oracle is in 6th place. We've got Roux, we've got Lalo Kills. Kuros Kai having a very slow very slow exit out of the corner that is all important across this bridge, heading down towards the end of sector 2, excuse me, and it's side-by-side action there. It looked like the blue Lamborghini was going to go for it, but Slug and Deviant managing to hold off for now. And Silo down at the tail of the field. Mercury, of course, going round to wait in the pit lane for our start of our race. Soft tyres on Mercury's car. Hopefully he'll be avoiding a penalty here on the pit exit that we experienced in Bathurst. But Hifi Honda with the early lead, but it's not a huge lead here. Arcane keeping him honest there in 2nd position in the Renault, and the Renault performing very nicely so far on this initial lap. And the hard tyres for the front group here. Huge Jar on medium tyres. He's going to need to get a little bit movement going on his race position, I would have to say, because for now at least he's not in the best position sitting there on the medium tyre. However, often it's the medium tyre that is the better of the race tyres we have available to us. So Hifi Honda 1st position, and it looks like Huge Jar is starting to make those moves. And have a look certainly to the outside of the final corner here, the final right-hander, and a simple kind of 90-degree right-hander, very classic racetrack setup, and Huge Jar looking for that opportunity to try and get into the slipstream. But it looks like the Lamborghini at the moment having the edge here and top speed, and in fact going for a move himself. Here goes T-Deeds down the inside. That was robust to say the least. Arcane put a little bit out of his racing line. Shoulder to shoulder they go, and Arcane now defending from Huge Jar, who can take advantage potentially, but he seemed to have lost a little bit of momentum, maybe off throttle while they had that contact, to make sure that he didn't get spun around. Of course, Huge Jar now driving with the pressure of challenging for the championship, and it's very difficult to battle on equal terms in that case. There are the lavender fields, famous for the Garonne region of France, as Arcane is tucked up the inside here into the S's section, but looks just like a slightly different line for him. It's Arcane in 3rd, Huge Jar following, and that wall does come out to join the racetrack and to threaten the drivers. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to just check that out again from perhaps behind the car, because that was so close to disaster as he nailed the throttle, came out of the corner and just hooked it up expertly in the end. Fantastic move. Let's watch to see if Huge Jar manages to get down the inside here, and that boards him a few meters off the corner. They'll go side by side into the next one, into the left-hander. But Arcane, I was going to say he can ride on the outside and have the inside for the next corner, but he's just too wide. Hit the barrier, and it has affected his momentum no end. Maxwell out on the marbles around the outside, trying to brave it strongly in the Jaguar. It's a very planted car, the Jaguar, very, very secure. A little bit too secure. We've got some excellent action coming up into the next corner as well as they come screaming down. They were side by side 3 wide, but actually Thrasher has got the nose ahead. Thrasher now into 6th position and on the racing medium tyres as well. It's all action here in the Deviant GT4 league as Golden Oracle goes down the inside, but unfortunately rubs the barrier again. That allows Rue in the Rexy livery to sneak his way back through again into 7th position. Golden Oracle looking a little bit leery and out on the medium tyres with some damage as well on the car. Front splitter, front right. Some damage after contact with the barrier. He'll hope he can drive around that without having to pit early, but it does look like he's losing a little bit of performance as Lalo Kills comes right up the outside. Golden Oracle almost spooked himself off into the barrier again and again, rubbing the wall on the final corner, and Lalo Kills managing to avoid action. So Lalo Kills up, Golden Oracle down several places now as the Tricolore liveried Alfa Romeo goes all the way up into P7. What happened to Rue there? It's looked like a slow exit out of the previous corner as Golden Oracle gives him a bit of a shove. I wonder if there might have been some problematic contact there before, but Rue himself also with damage, front splitter and front left. These walls at Saint Croix are incredibly unforgiving, and seemingly in this early portion of our race, remember we've got a long wait to the to our safety car lap 14. We've got a long wait for that, so the drivers certainly won't be able to rest on their laurels at this stage. Divine in 10th, Kuros Kai is in 11th and not able to extract the kind of performance out of the Renault. Looks like the Renault team have been leaning into the performance there of the higher placed driver. Here then are the Peugeots in those big red livery Wrigley cars, and looking good as ever, always looking like some candy. And that was Silo getting very sideways, coming out of the corner near the bridge. I wonder if he tagged the wall or if it just a little bit of looseness on the rear of the car. That Lamborghini, wedge-shaped Lamborghini, is a little bit active in the acceleration phase. This partially street circuit setup that we have here at Saint Croix. Hyphy Honda has a lead. It's stretched a little bit, but I don't have the gaps to give you. But it looks like Huge Jar has dispatched and gapped Max, has dispatched and gapped Arcane, and it's now Maxwell in that 4th position with TD's settling into 2nd, but trying to start moving forward. We've got Italian marks 1, 2, 3, and a British mark in P4 at this time at the French circuit. Alfa Romeo plays Lamborghini, plays Ferrari. This would be fantastic to see all these manufacturers racing each other hard on GT racing, wouldn't it? But of course there is a considerable overlap with the ownership of certainly Ferrari and Fiat. That was Huge Jar just getting out onto the grass there in the infield section on the final corner. So he's going to lose a little bit of ground. In fact, if you look from TD's car from behind, that's gapped by quite a considerable margin. It's right on board with TD's for a few moments then as he tries to benefit from that slipstream that we've got. Remember, it's a 60-minute race, 60-minute race here at the GT3 World Challenge, GT4 World Challenge, excuse me, as he brakes heavily down into the start of the S's, and Hyphy Honda much wider on entry. But a personal best there from TD, who's building the speed, racing hard tyres for both these cars on the head of our field. And now the track really does narrow up. It's a track of kind of a split personality, this track, with the permanent road layout and then the temporary racetrack setup that it kind of switches in and out of. Here comes T Deeds then. This is very early for an approach for the lead. Hyphy Honda, remember, fighting for the championship, and usually finishes the race and his tyre stints very strongly. But T Deeds with the overtake for the lead of the race in lap 4 and he has brought himself forward very nicely indeed. Looks like he's got some great pace. He's got the fastest lap on the race so far, lap 2 at 2 minutes 22.407, and this is a personal best sector, continuing with the overtake as well. And look at the gap he's opening up here. Clearly not too nervous about his tyre wear. He can run this fuel gauge to the empty and make this a two-stopper, presumably. Even despite the fact that he's using the hard tyres, he's certainly burning through them pretty quickly, slightly ahead of the tyre wear on Hyphy Honda's Alfa Romeo. And it does seem like Hyphy Honda just having a bit of a bad lap at the moment. He has a 2:23.399, which was not a poor lap by anybody's standards, but certainly TD's driving very well indeed. And the gap's now opening up between the top 3, and more crucially, with another sideways save there from Hughes-Jar, he just needs to perfect that final corner, as Thrasher has gapped a little bit from the front 4. That's Maxwell just hitting the wall on the exit of the final corner and picking up, or staying with a half-second off-throttle penalty still to come. Arcane on the recovery here, could really do with getting back into the podium positions. Behind him, Lalo Kills in 7th. We have Croix and then Roux following behind in the Chevrolet Roux, in the Rexy-sponsored Chevrolet, as Croix is trying to defend hard. He's got a difficult car to drive, a difficult car to be competitive with, Croix, the Renault, as witnessed in the championship standings at this time as well. But certainly his teammate managing to extract some performance, at least in qualifying and throughout the first lap. But Roux hot on the heels then of Croix, and it looks like we might be about to get an overtake here as we head towards the next right-hander. Roux with the inside line and straight past, and a very nice clean move. It just upsets his entry into the next left-hander, but he's managed to rein that one in. Can he avoid contact with that wall at the start of the bridge? And he has done. So absolutely fantastic overtake then from Roux, and he'll be moving forward there. Roux on the hard tyres, as is Croix. So same strategy, no difference in tyre compound. Gordon Oracle is in 10th at the moment with the silver and blue Racing Red Bull colours, and certainly this is the second of the Jaguars, with Deviant in the second of the Chevrolets behind him. So an unusual situation to have a Red Bull sponsored Jaguar, but still very nice looking car. Oh, he won't thank me for watching him while he gets out onto the marbles, and unfortunately it becomes a negative spiral. You lose control, you lose speed, you lose grip, and you just start drifting towards the barrier. Some faint scratch marks on that front fender for Golden Oracle as well, although I guess we'll call it a bumper as he is a British driver. And it's it's Deviant who was almost completely out of view there, but Deviant then trying to find his way through and past Golden Oracle as we join him in the chase cam. And he's got more grip at this stage in the Mobil 1 sponsored Corvette, just playing with the throttle, playing with the brakes, just to try and encourage the car towards the apex neatly, but losing out slightly there down the little straight prior to the final corner. Through they go then to start their next lap, and Golden Oracle, the first one into the pits, off the racing mediums, just as the racing mediums reach a point in their wear ratio where they start to lose grip, that sort of 45% remaining level, and that could be a pretty smart move from him to pit this early. We've got hard tyres for the majority of the field. It is the required tyre, and given that you have to start on a full tank of fuel, it's a fairly sensible thing to do to fit the hard tyres at the start. 12th place for Silo, 13th for Slug. Golden Oracle out of the pits, picking up a 3-second penalty. That will be a slam dunk over the line, over the pit lane exit line situation. And well, I mean, I say slam dunk, but it was a crosshatch line, a dash line that he crossed, not the solid line. But all the same, the game has given him a 3-second off throttle penalty, and that hurts when you're trying to actually race forward. We've got the podium contenders then up at the front. Hyphy Honda in second now and actually losing ground here. It looks like T Deeds is stretching his lead, but he is stretching that with using the tyres a little bit more. Anatol says he got it on the entry. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you, Anatol. That's great insight from you. But yeah, it looked like a dash line, so I was slightly surprised. But incoming, either crossing the line or a speeding penalty potentially. That race control has given him that penalty, so that's unfortunate. Huge Jar in third place. Thrasher is in fourth and still just about within sight of the podium, with Arcane currently having got back his fourth and certainly his fifth place. Maxwell we saw rubbing the walls occasionally and picking up a penalty, and I think that probably explains Maxwell's drop from fourth down to sixth. It's a good looking livery we've got going. Got Red Bull definitely guesting here. I didn't know that Red Bull did a pink variety in their cans, but maybe it's a breast cancer awareness situation here for Maxwell's car, excuse me. And then we've got Lalo Kills on his own in the Alfa Romeo, car 135 in seventh place. The gaps really have opened out quite considerably. But do expect a lot of close racing later on in the session once the strategies start to take effect. Giros Kai coming through that final corner in ninth. We have Deviant still in 10th place. Our Saito first of the Peugeots. They are slow, difficult machines, these Peugeots, and hats off to our Saito and for Slug for sticking with it throughout our season. Next race is the final race of the season, and it will be at the Nürburgring 24-hour configuration, so it combines both the Nordschleife and the Südschleife, or the GP circuit. So can't wait to see the cars and the drivers tackling the green hell, twinned and joined to the green heck, as I like to call it. It's sunset here at Sainte-Croix. It's lap 7 of what could end up being about 28 laps or thereabouts, maybe 27 laps once you take into account the pit stop. So we are 1/4 of the distance through. This is Silo in the penultimate position at the moment, and not far away from his ultimate pace. Golden Oracle, of course, having those slow laps with an in lap and then a penalty added to out lap. But he's building the pace now, and there you can see on new medium tyres, which he will hope will get him through to the safety car period, I think, and then he can neatly split the race into 3. But he's really ragging this car. That was super Larry heading in towards the Armco from Golden Oracle, out on fresh tyres, but not treating them very carefully at all. Back at the front, T Deeds, fairly stable gap, I think, to Hyphy Honda. Here he is, Hyphy Honda, now in the lime green wheels and accented Alfa Romeo. Certainly Takata not sparing any money on vehicle wraps and wheel painting through this season. Running wide, and so was Huge Jar. And these walls, they really do bite here at Sainte-Croix. And Thrasher now very much on terms, and these are teammates. Not given away by the liveries, but Thrasher definitely a teammate of Huge Jar. But behind him in the championship, Huge Jar currently in second position in the championship, perhaps the only one who is likely to fight with Hyphy Honda come the end of the race. He's not going to be too impressed, or not be too willing, I should say, to release Thrasher at this stage. But Thrasher on the mediums, Huge Jar on the hards. No, they're both started mediums, excuse me. So Huge Jar may feel like there's absolutely no reason to give the place over, but Thrasher will be feeling slightly aggrieved and thinking, well, you know, the better result for the Scuderia is for him to get in front and use the speed while he has it. But identical tyre wear as well between these two, so it wouldn't surprise me if they've been sharing and working together on setups, and it is affecting the cars identically, of course. But the signal there, 1 second slower through sector 2, through the end of sector 1, I believe, or is it sector 2? Sector 2, yes, it's a 4-sector racetrack. End of sector 2, Thrasher 1 second slower than his best, so clearly the tyres going off, these mediums, and maybe it is time to think about that first pit stop and getting onto the hard tyres for the Scuderia. Arcane has enough fuel to continue and enough tyres to continue through until the end of this fuel allocation. Another new livery on board here for the Renault team. Quite sure what we're referencing other than just being interested in new liveries here. And then Lalo Kills just slightly loose on the rear of the Alfa Romeo, but the car looking good out there. Also looking good, I have to say, is Rexy, and I do want to get a nice close-up look at Rexy's Snapdragon Chevrolet as we get super close here. Dragon Racing Chevrolet, and this is inspired, I think, by the Rexy Peugeot 2023 Le Mans entries, but it's looking incredibly nice. And more of this kind of thing from me, please. I do love it, absolutely. And they just look the business on track, these toothy snarl on the front. Very kind of World War II fighter jet style, I think, which I really like. In comes Roux then on the hard tyres and virtually empty of fuel. And it looks like T-Deeds and Hi-Fi Honda all coming in at the same time as well. Start of lap 8, I believe they've passed the start-finish line here. No, start of lap 9 it will be. So caution for the drivers coming out of the pits. T-Deeds lost ground there to Hi-Fi Honda, who, despite the fact that earlier on in the stint had smaller tyre wear, looks like he managed to close the gap on the in-lap, and now is looking racy. Hi-Fi Honda, will he make an overtake opportunity out of pretty much nothing? T-Deeds has to keep it very, very careful as braking heavily down goes T-Deeds down to the inside, but the next one is going to be a right-hander, a long sweeping right-hander for Hi-Fi Honda up into 5th place then, regaining essentially the net lead of the race. So coming through, T-Deeds trying to take that different line into the corner. Arcane telling me that his livery is actually an Ohio State livery. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. And Timid saying he had a livery inspired by the F22 Raptor. I've got to see that one. You've got to share that one with me. I'd love to see that, absolutely. So then we've got Hi-Fi Honda fighting again with T-Deeds. This is where T-Deeds passed him earlier. T-Deeds up the inside after the bridge. Over the crest then on the short chute down into the sweeping right-hander at the south of the circuit, and T-Deeds back into what I think will be the net lead of the race. Now what's interesting to me is that these hard tyre runners stopped before the medium running Ferraris. Very, very unusual. So Timid saying that okay, I don't think that the F22 Raptor was sponsored by Bang, but it has got the US Air Force stickers on the back. Yes, okay. I don't think the US military is quite hard up enough yet to have sponsorship names on it, surely. But I take your point, and it does look good. I like the kind of matte grey finish. That's pretty sweet as well. So into the pits come the Ferraris of Huge Jar and Thrasher, but also Arcane in the Renault pits. Lalo Kills staying out on the hard tyres. Oh, no, he doesn't. I say he's staying out, and he goes straight into the pits, flirting with that solid white line on the exit as well. But it looks like we're going to have normal service resumed. We're going to have Hi-Fi Honda sliding to the outside, almost hitting the wall on the outside of the final corner there. But T-Deeds is going to retake that first position. Huge Jar drops down behind Hi-Fi Honda there, and then exiting the pits fairly level. I don't think as caught or lost particularly, but Arcane, definitely the driver who has gained position through that pit stop sequence and closed right in to Huge Jar. He also has up to temperature tyres. He's used to the track conditions and the weight of the car as well. He's not quite as heavy either. He's actually gone for a shorter stint here with the medium tyres, 3/4 of a tank of fuel, which sounds exactly sensible to me. And of course the hard runners have come out on full tank of fuel, so a weight differential and a tyre differential. Surely now Arcane has to try and go for it all down the inside, doesn't quite commit, and Huge Jar was certainly awake to it anyway, and screaming down towards the inside. It looked like Huge Jar with a better exit over the bridge, Arcane with a bit of work left to do then. It's lap 10. We are expecting the safety car on lap 14. The driver's not permitted to pit on lap 13, at the end of lap 13. So they will have to collect themselves in to the safety car queue. So Ohio State has some sort of green emblem on the front of the bonnet, it seems. I need to get a close-up on that while we have the opportunity. What am I looking at? Looks like... Is it okay if I say that looks like marijuana leaves? I'm sure you're going to absolutely lambast me for that, Arcane. But some sort of insignia on the front there of the Ohio State reminiscent colour scheme of Arcane. I'm expecting the chat to light up right now. TD leads Hyphy Honda from Huge Jar and Arcane on screen. Further back, it's a Buckeye leaf. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, I'll believe you. Thrasher is in 5th place then, further back, and he lost a lot of ground pitting, and he filled with fuel and then fitted the medium tyres. He's gone medium. He's going to have to fit the hards at the end of the race. Here comes Arcane then. Great exit from the corner. I missed that. I want to see that again from Arcane. How does he do this? Round the outside. Oh, it's partly down to Huge Jar running wide, but Arcane was there and deserved the position. So Huge Jar making a slight mistake on the exit of the final corner. How often have we seen that from our drivers tonight? But Arcane then up into 3rd position for car 52 and the Renault Megane Trophy team. That is definitely punching above the weight, pardon the pun, of the Renault Megane. And as I say, racing at home here for the French manufacturer, and the team will be delighted, and so will the crowd, to see Arcane moving up into 3rd place. Let's run you through the order then as things start to stretch out once again. Thrasher we talked about in 5th. The headlights are coming on as the sunset takes effect. Maxwell, quite familiar position for Maxwell, kind of between the midfield and the front runners, and kind of on his own here in the Jaguar. He's on the medium tyres, running a shorter stint, trying to get through to to the safety car lap, I think, was Lalo Kills, is in 7th place now in the Alfa Romeo, and he has Roux and the Dragon livery en route munching away at the lead. And certainly that's got to look pretty ferocious in the rearview mirror for Lalo Kills as he gets all crossed up going into the right-hander at the end of the S's and onto the bridge. Roux very awake to it and straight into 7th place. Again, it looks like this track really challenging our drivers. Roux then picking up a fastest sector that time, so it wasn't all the mistake of Lalo Kills. It was partly Roux and his driving that got him into that position. Lalo Kills, what a hit! Man, that's hard for Lalo Kills, especially on a new set of tyres and a full tank of fuel. That might be explaining it. He was one of the last to pit, but unfortunately Lalo Kills has smashed the car. You saw the sparks flying, and I can see damage on the front splitter, the front right tyre, and he's actually testing the grip as well. You can see just wiggling the car. Is the car responding? Is it going to turn? Is it going to brake when he gets into the corner, or is he going to understeer terribly, continuing through this stint? We've got our Saito as the pink sunset, pinky orange sunset takes effect. It's our Saito in P9, and he's putting in a great performance here, definitely outperforming the car a little bit, I'd have to say, in the Peugeot. Certainly the Wrigley Big Red is bringing him some better fortune, better performance for number 19. Deviant then in the second Chevrolet, a little bit uninspired by Deviant's livery today. I think we could do a little bit better, Deviant, unless of course it's the team or the rendering that hasn't come through, but that's a little bit vanilla for my liking, Deviant. Kuroskai is in the traditional Renault colours of a kind of a deep yellow. It's almost gold, but he's in 11th place right now. I think you can see Deviant on the straights. Slug, where is Slug going? Slug is shifting around, crawling around, but he is managing to navigate the corners neatly enough. Looks very active, maybe picking up a little bit of performance lag there, but in 12th place with the yellow headlights on as well. Again, very typically French, those yellow headlights. I think I've mentioned before in this league, but the European GT series that race GT3 and GT4 on the same track at the same time, they they insist that all the GT4s have yellow headlights and all the GT3s white, so you can tell them easily apart in those night endurance events. Silo's in 13th, Golden Oracle in the Jaguar down in 14th right now, and not having the best time of it on a new set of tyres. I think he had to pit to repair the damage on the car. And there is Mercury waiting for his moment in the, I was going to say moment in the sun, moment in the sunset on the track, as T-Deeds, Hyphy Honda and Arcane have got quite close to each other once again. It'd certainly be worth sticking with these drivers for a little while here, as they're trying, as I said before, to get through to the caution period and then make one more stop. So a two-stopper, and if they can time it right, they'll probably do the same thing as each other. No one likely to make a kind of big undercut move. But remember, this is the final lap that the drivers are allowed to pit on, and then they have to wait until they have collected the safety car, or the safety car has at least come out and collected the leader, before they can pit at the end of lap 14. So lap 13 is prohibited. Hyphy Honda moving to the outside. T-Deeds definitely defending here, heading into the final corner. Someone going to run wide on the exit? No, not quite, but Arcane looking good as well, and tucked right up behind the Alfa Romeo. I always want to say that the Hyphy Honda or the Honda, and I'm going to confuse matters. T-Deeds then again defending on the way into the first corner. It's almost like he prefers that line, but no, he's definitely defending hard here against Hyphy Honda. This is important for Hyphy Honda's championship. It's important for T-Deeds' pride to hang on here to first position at the moment until the end of the lap if he can. He's completely defensive all the way across to the middle of the road, almost stopping at the apex because he has to try and get the car to a blocking position for the next straight and next corner sequence. Here comes Hyphy Honda. Now he's going to be running incredibly wide. Looks like he was going for the over-under, but given the fact that the section of the track is a switchback, has he planned it beautifully on the way out of the corner before the bridge? Not quite, but it's 1, 2, 3, T-Deeds, Hyphy Honda and Arcane, and driving incredibly well. Looked like Arcane had a bit of a performance advantage down the main straight earlier on as they brake heavily into the corner after the bridge. T-Deeds rubbing the barrier. I don't think will have cost himself any time there, but certainly half a tank of fuel on these cars now. Medium tyres for all three. Identical strategies. What we're witnessing here is racers pressurizing each other on the same strategy. Hyphy Honda, another collision with the wall, that time as he came out of the right-hander and over the crest, so may lose a bit of performance, but he hasn't incurred any lasting damage on the car. The impact not sufficient to make that happen. And in towards then the final portion of the final lap before the safety car. Mercury will be getting ready to exit the pits shortly, and he's going to try and avoid a pit exit penalty this time. I'm sure he didn't appreciate that moment caught on stream, but I had to see what had happened in Bathurst. Here they come then, approaching the final corner, and I can see that Mercury is coming out of the pit lane, so getting ready. Will we see any pit stops from the lead three? No, we won't. I'm just going to check to see if anyone else makes a pit stop. Hushjar, Thrasher, all going through. Here comes Maxwell then towards the final corner. This could be a grasp for position, or at least a free pit stop. I would imagine if anyone does it, Maxwell might, but no, he and Roux stay out as well. I kind of thought that they might be able to run around under the safety car and make this work through to the end on a set of hards, but no one going for it. The lap 14, obviously just a really inconvenient part of the race split to go for a pit stop, but of course it saves you that dropping position during your next pit stop. Let's see if the safety car can recover anybody's race here. So Anatos then can't pit on 13. I thought the reference was to the actual end of the lap rather than the start of the lap, so I think that's where I'm getting confused. Kuroskai is in 10th. We have Slug in 11th. Our Saito in 12th. Silo still in 13th position, and Golden Oracle unable to catch those cars at the moment. Silo definitely catching Saito right now, and that's difficult enough to say. Oracle in 14th, and then we've got Mercury traveling at 65 to 70 miles an hour here, and that's going to feel very slow, but our field condensing once again, and it's certainly been an entertaining sequence here for the drivers. So lights flashing as night draws in on the circuit. You get some nice close-up shots then of our cars going a little bit slower than we're used to seeing. Well, I'd say a little bit, it's a lot slower, isn't it? Hy-Vee Honda, second place, and leading the championship. Doesn't need to keep winning, but try telling a racing driver that you don't need to win. You certainly won't get listened to, and you may get some slightly unpleasant messages. TD's Hy-Vee Honda and Arcade, and look at that nightfall as it happened on screen. That was pretty crazy. I think it was just the camera adjusting as we got headlights shining directly at us. I thought for a second someone had turned out the lights in the sky. Hy-Vee Honda's progressing nicely. I think we're going to have ourselves a cool battle towards in this final 2 stints of the race, having the drivers see this one out. We have about 35 minutes by the time they reach the pit lane, so those drivers going for hard, medium, hard, or at least planning on a hard set at the end of the race, might all peel into the pits during this safety car period. We can definitely see the night sky conditions and lighting conditions drawing in now. It's getting darker and darker, and it'll be a different situation for the drivers. TD's getting pretty close there to Mercury. Mercury is speed limited. There we have it again. It's just that camera angle, just dipping things significantly. So heading towards the final corner now, under the safety car, under our caution period, and anybody planning on a pit stop. Arcane pits, okay. And so there's Maxwell and Rue, and that looked like, was that Deviant coming in as well, I think. But Kurokai Slug staying out. Deviant did pit on that line, so a big split here. I fully expect the drivers pitting now, if they can, to fit the hard tyres for the end of the stint. There's a guy mincing down the pit lane there in red, and didn't appear to be too concerned with the fact that there were race cars coming in at speed. Rue fueling up in the Chevy and hoping to get through to the end of this race. Didn't have a lot of fuel left to actually add into the tank, but it's done now. There's Devine picking up a penalty, so that's a pit lane infraction for Devine, unfortunately, so that's going to hurt his restart lap, no doubt. We're still under safety car conditions. Why is TD's flashing his lights? Anatole did tell me that some drivers have got their headlight flash queued up to their steering on controller, so they're accidentally hitting L3 when they're trying to steer, and also with the hazard lights on for TD's. I'm not sure. I think Hy-Vee Honda might have the hazards on too. It's a bit hard to tell from the forwards, but yes, hazards on for Hy-Vee Honda. I wonder if drivers deliberately doing that while they're under this safety car period. Huge jar weaving around just to keep a gentle amount of temperature left in the tyres. Thrash is going to be in an interesting position here later on, because he's going to have some performance off the restart, off the line, but that performance is going to drop off very quickly, and then he's going to have to take his final pit stop. Huge jar did fit the hard tyres, but I don't think he'll be fueled to a finish. We'll probably have in the region of 21 racing minutes to go, and so a splash and dash set of soft tyres maybe for the end of the race coming for Huge Jar. Anatole saying hazard lights are required. Well, not everybody is obeying that. The Ferraris aren't working. And you certainly couldn't require turn signals to work if you had BMWs in the championship, could you? So very few drivers have actually put the hazard lights on. Let's see, is Maxwell obeying the rules? Absolutely. There you go. And so is the Lambo at the back of the field as well. There you've got Deviant with his penalty to come. Some drivers forget, well, maybe there should be some sort of incentive to make them remember. I'm not someone for needless penalties, but yeah, all the same. Weaving, keeping the temperature in the tyres. Some of the drivers, of course, having turbocharged engines, so that's an interesting challenge for them on the restart. There'll be a little bit of lag for the cars. You can see the difference. TD's naturally aspirated, Hyphy Honda on a turbo. You can just see the graphic to the right of the throttle and lights and assists display on the car. Bone dry conditions here at Saint Croix. I'm not quite sure what our weather forecast, our long range weather forecast will be for the 11th of August for the finale of the season at the Nürburgring, but it is in the region where you will get plenty of rain. Safety car on his way in now. We're going to resume racing with just over 40.5 minutes to go before the checkered flag falls on the drivers, and it is going to be TD who leads the drivers away with Hyphy Honda and Huge Jar. Now, thanks to that pit stop from Arcane, which has put him right down in the order, but he's well placed for later on. He's going to have to exhibit a great deal of patience. TD's Hyphy Honda and Huge Jar racing away then from the line. Huge Jar drawing alongside Hyphy Honda, tempted to go for the move, but didn't want to take out the championship leader. Certainly not at that corner anyway. We've got Croix and Saito quite close to one another, further back as well. So that's going to be interesting. So is Slug all together. Slug, the reserve driver here, as Lalo Kills struggling to get his medium tyres back up to where he wants them. Certainly struggling for grip right now. Lalo Kills hassling Thrasher, but Thrasher so far holding the defensive line into these switchback corners. Beautiful S's here at Saint Croix. And then we've got a mistake there from Croix, and he loses ground to Lalo Kills. So Lalo into 5th place, Croix into 6th with Saito and Slug. Slug has also got Arcane on the hunt now. Arcane trying to get those positions back, but he's on the outside line. He's got medium tyres to see him through to the end of this race. Outside line is a difficult place. Beautiful from Arcane, beautiful hold there, but fortunately it didn't buy him a position. Slug is defending, and he has every right to do so, but brand new medium tyres running outside of the long right-hander after the bridge, and it looks like he's going to get the nose and possibly the tail ahead. Rue ready to pounce here and breathing fire right now to try and get ahead. Arcane trying to keep that momentum, but it looks like our Peugeot punching here above its usual horsepower rating, but it couldn't quite live with Rue, who came around the outside as well. So Rue out on the grass to make the move stick. Arcane already with his sights here on the next car to overtake. Arcane is super aggressive on these mediums. He's not too worried about making them last to the end of the race. Arcane in 8th position. Saito then on the way in, and oh, that's contact with the wall from Croix again. Croix struggling, so Croix down to 10th position. He's on old mediums, and he's now hurt the car as well. Pit stop coming, I think, from Croix. Why did we go past the pit lane? Croix, your performance is going to be nowhere for a few laps at the moment, and you can tire to the end of the race. Arcane is drawing alongside our Saito, French manufacturer versus French manufacturer, and he actually opens the door for Rue, who is getting some great results just following Arcane here. It's still TD's Hyphy Honda and Huge Tower at the front, no panic there, but Arcane, some great performance into P6. Timid saying he flashed the lights because the safety car driver said he felt like he was being followed by the police. Well, he's the one with the blue lights on top, so he shouldn't worry about that too much, right? Anyway, that's good insight there. Arcane some great speed at the moment. Lick of flame out the back of the Renault, and there's plenty of dust for the cars behind to follow. Roux getting unsighted thanks to that and almost tagging the wall. And the helicopter watching on as we run through down the bridge. Lap 17 here. I figure we'll probably do another 9 or 10. But of course the race cuts off at 60 minutes. Regardless of where you are on track, it's not the lead lap, it's where you are on track. So if you cross the line after the 60 minutes, whichever lap you're on, your race is effectively over. P6 and 7 then, Arcane defending from Roux. And of course, both of their races are better served here, not fighting each other, so long as Arcane has the speed to drag Roux with him into the battle for the top 5. And I think that's looming. Roux right out on the grass again, and I think, did he make contact, Roux, with Arcane? I think he did, and I think that one is pretty unpleasant. So let's go again and check out what happened. This is Arcane. Have I gone too far back? Down into the corner. There you go. Arcane still ahead of Roux, waiting for that move. And as he passed our Saito neatly. Some contretemps happening behind between the Peugeots as well. But following behind neatly. This is Roux getting out onto the grass to start with, and pushing that Chevrolet pretty hard. That was that lick of flame that I saw earlier on from Arcane. This is where they came out, and they're both pushing incredibly hard in this lap to try and maximize their final racing positions. And this is where Roux starts getting a sniff of that exhaust from Arcane's Renault Megane. As down into the left-hander we go. Arcane again, getting loose, getting a little bit out of shape, perhaps. And Roux steadily and gradually closing in. He's got plenty of stars in the sky. This is lap 17 for these drivers. Checking the mirrors. There, Arcane. Where is Roux going to attack? I think it was into turn 1 that the trouble actually happened. That is Roux right out. No, here it is. Yeah, definitely contact. Arcane just couldn't slow the car down, and he is going to be absolutely crushed by that. Roux doing the right and honourable thing. He knows he messed up, and the great shot there, I think, of the Peugeots coming around the Arcane's car. Roux having to just hold position, and that was good sportsmanship. After I know it was obviously not deliberate, he made a mistake, but of course it's cost them both in a big way. There's T Deeds into the pits, then off the medium tyre, and going to pit for the run-in home. So Arcane's work still to do, and he managed to avoid damage, which he'll be grateful for at least. Going sideways into the gravel did slow his progress significantly down into that final sector of lap 17, but still he's got plenty of race left to run. But I think that might be a potential podium gone for Arcane, and even though Roux holds off and doesn't go for the move, it's not going to help Arcane, feeling like he might have missed a podium here today. Cutting back outside to inside, Arcane can't find a way past these chunky chunky Peugeots, and Roux going around the outside as well. Roux going to try and split the difference between these two cars. Arcane can't find a way through. Roux's going to do the opposite of whatever Saito does. Down the inside goes Saito. That was a little bit scrappy. Could have gone wrong there from Arcane. And just a sign of desperation. And Maxwell now joining the fray. We have got a 4 or 5 way battle, because even behind Maxwell is Deviant as well. So it's going to be very, very entertaining. Remember, T-Deeds came into the pits. Hyphy Honda and Huge Dart and Thrasher have stayed out. Roux just shaving the barrier on the exit of the corner after the bridge. I should come up with some corner names ready for Saint Croix, shouldn't I? I did that recently for Dragon Trail, if you guys are interested. Then it's getting super busy. Arcane trying to go around the outside. He's got, I think, now the inside line coming up to the next corner. Roux has managed to get alongside the Peugeot as well. Our Saito just intimidating, or attempting an intimidation of Roux, but with that livery on, you're certainly not going to be shy going into the corners. So Roux and Arcane back finally past the Peugeots, and plenty of work to do as now things start to spread out a little bit. Looks like Maxwell pitted or crashed. No, he didn't pit. Obviously had a problem there, Maxwell. I think maybe we'll just check out what happened to Maxwell. 1, 2, and 3. This is him ahead of Deviant, and I know Maxwell's watching and won't thank me for this. So Deviant goes down the inside, Maxwell leaving space to the inside, and just losing momentum, I think. Losing grip through the corner. Did anything further happen to Maxwell? Certainly a lot of understeer on the hard tyres and struggling on those hard tyres, it looks like anyway, if I had to guess. So just really understeering the Jaguar. Hardly a surprise with that car. But there goes Arcane then in 5th position, as it almost looks like it's sunrise again, but I don't think so. It's just the effect of the headlights coming towards the camera. Hyphy Honda, Thrasher and Lalo Kills into the pits. Anatole is fuel saving. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So fuel saving for Maxwell to try and get the car home, I think, essentially, not to make it to the pit lane. Huge Dart leads now, Arcane in 2nd position. Now this has worked out for Arcane, but I think the drivers in the pits at the moment will find their way back through. But Huge Dart still has to pit to bring the car home, but can he get a set of softs to the end, potentially? He'll be trying, maybe, to get this car home, but 12 and a half minutes to go. And there's probably not enough fuel, just under a quarter of a tank of fuel to go. Otherwise, the rest of the drivers have grossly miscalculated how much fuel they need. So I think the case is indeed that essentially he will need to pit again, Huge Dart. But of course, the later he goes, the less time he spends stationary and fitting and filling with fuel. We'll see if he is lifting and coasting at all. Not really. Maybe a small hint of a pause between a lift-off and a brake action. I'll perhaps watch him on the next run down towards turn 1. But Roux and Arcane, I think, okay to a finish. They're going to struggle with these medium tyres, but I think they've got no option but to brave it out now. And then we're going to see some fast drivers coming through the field, I think, who have pitted fairly late. Check them out in a minute. Let's go down to the back of the grid then and see Silo's in 13th. Sorry, Golden Oracle is in 14th and is on a long, lonely run to try and make up for early race drama. Silo has scratched up that beautiful Lamborghini. Oh, what was that from a Golden Oracle? He's just had a big moment in the barrier after the bridge. Let's check that one out again. Car number 98 then. Oh, just way too late on the brakes. Just couldn't get any performance and really damaged. This seems to be the way with Golden Oracle. He pits fresh tyres, struggles to warm up the tyres, and then damages the car and kind of really ought to go back to the pits again. Guros Kai is in 12th. Hyphy Honda then out of the pits and in 11th place, and he has gone for the soft tyres. And actually a full tank of fuel surprises me. Let's see if anybody else on new tyres has gone with less fuel. Certainly Lalo Kills has. Thrasher definitely has, but he's also put hard tyres on to finish this race, which I guess he hadn't used them yet. Medium, hard was Thrasher's strategy. And T-Deeds then in 7th position. 3/4 of a tank of fuel for what was about 12 minutes remaining on the race. again, seems quite a lot, but looks like we've just had an overtake. TD's then in 6th place, Maxwell in 5th place, and we heard from him in the live chat. It's fuel saving to try and get home, and certainly blipping the throttle through the corner there. We'll try and join him at the end of a straight, see to what extent he is fuel saving, lifting and coasting on the way into the corners. Peugeot's looking good at the moment, but for how much longer, I'm not entirely sure. Deviant, half a tank of fuel, just under half the most limited front left here on the medium tyre. I think it should be okay. I think this race is going to come down to potentially these three. I think the faster drivers have miscalculated, essentially. Roux again with the barrier after the bridge. So Anatol saying now he's not fuel saving. Okay. Keeping me guessing all the way through this one. Arcane is in first. Roux struggling here to rein in his heavy right foot, I think. Desperate to get on terms and potentially challenge for the win, but undoing his progress by rubbing these barriers to such an extent, and has picked up damage now. Will have an even more understeery car when turning right, and of course that's the predominant direction change on this clockwise circuit. So Roux struggling with the Chevrolet here at Saint Croix in the dark in the penultimate race of this season 3.2 here at the GT4 World Challenge by Deviant. This is Webbo. Thank you so much for joining us today and for liking and subscribing today as well. That's super appreciated. Arcane leads this race now by a significant margin from Roux, with Deviant challenging at the moment at least for the podium. Turn up for the books to see these three on the podium if this is how it finishes, with just 8 minutes and change left to go in the race. 4th place is our Saito. TD's, who did lead earlier on, is down in 5th place with a significant margin, almost the length of the pit straight back to 1st position, but on racing medium tyres. Any news, I wonder, of the progress potentially of our championship leading Hi-Fi Honda? Something isn't quite right. I think just overfilling with fuel. Sometimes the drivers just get distracted in a pit stop and forget that they can exit early from the pits if they don't need that much fuel, but I'm certain Hi-Fi Honda is overfilled with fuel, unless he's just giving everyone else a huge head start. Thrasher got ahead, Huge Jar got ahead in the pit stop sequence, but I think maybe strategically some debriefs after the race are going to consider that perhaps those lead drivers have made life very difficult for themselves. Here comes TD's though, chasing down for 4th position at the moment for our Saito's 4th place. Building up the speed right now over the bridge. Personal best lap here for TD's on the medium tyre. Really late lunge down the inside. That was very late, and our Saito swept across, took his normal racing line, and they almost came to blows. Thankfully, TD's managing to hold on there. But looked like that was a bit of a Code Brown moment in the cockpit on the way into the corner, as our Saito hasn't got the performance on the tyre, but certainly has a large enough car to block this wedge-shaped Lamborghini Huracan from seeing the road. TD's though coming out of the right-hander at the south of the circuit and getting the performance, getting the traction, getting the inside line and through into 4th position now. Still plenty of work to do for TD's. See this race out, get back on the podium is goal number 1, but he'll be feeling like this is the race that should have been his for the win. Maxwell now chasing our Saito. I don't know what's going on the camera when we take that camera angle. It's almost like we're peering between street lit grass or something. And it's quite distracting. Arcane's in the pits. Oh, that's so annoying. To pit now for the end of the race, so we are not going to have quite the challenge that I thought we were. Those drivers who were limping home on mediums have called quits on that strategy, and it all works out beautifully. TD's back in to the lead, and it looks like Maxwell potentially holding on to a 3rd place right now, but with Huge Jar right behind him. Certainly will be hoping to try and hold him off, but right now, at least, Huge Jar has got a tyre advantage, got a tyre wear advantage, and down the inside, whoa! Again, very, very close. Maxwell with confidence swooping across the nose of the Ferrari, kind of put an accident in the hands of the aggressor there, and said, "Okay, I'm taking this line, and if you don't stop your car, we're both going to visit the barrier." Well, second place is our Saito. If the guys in front of him had to pit for new tyres on the previous lap, certainly our Saito is going to have to. But it's that case of diminishing returns now. There's only 2 laps to go after this one, pretty much. So can he hold on? Can he end up with a podium? Can he end up with a 5th place? But if he pits, he'll definitely be way down on the order. Our Saito defending like a lion on the inside of the corner. And apologies if you're not an F1 fan, that won't mean much. But our Saito in 2nd place. We've got Maxwell in 3rd, and Huge Jar fighting all over this 2nd place on the road at least. And will our Saito successfully block the racetrack here from our Thai driver Maxwell from making the move in the British Jaguar in the new livery, pink and white stripes for the Red Bull sponsored Jaguar. Again, looking for that outside-inside cutback manoeuvre for the better traction position, but our Saito is defending very well here. In fact, so much so that it looks like Maxwell's left the door open for Huge Jar, who sneaks his way through on the left-hander through the S's, the second set of S's on the track. And Maxwell just trying to put our Saito offline, put himself offline, and again out onto the grass. But Huge Jar into 3rd. Huge Jar is going to make slightly quicker work here, I think, because he's on the medium tyres and they clash door handles, and that puts the Peugeot well out of position. Maxwell goes through into 3rd place, so a net status quo there for Maxwell over the lap. And Arcane is coming up now. He got through past the Peugeot, and Arcane is challenging. Is he? Yes, absolutely, and nibbling away at the diffuser of the Jaguar. And straight pass for Arcane thanks to the better grip right now, even despite the fact that Arcane, he's got plenty of fuel on the car, but he's got those new soft tyres and they're really working well. Looks like he's going to make this one work through to a podium and a potential 2nd place. Huge Jar versus Arcane for 2nd here. Huge Jar in the lead. TD's in the lead of those 2. TD's out in front. Oh, Arcane again. Could have been very clumsy, that manoeuvre. Arcane managing to get out of the corner before the bridge safely on the easternmost point of the circuit. But losing ground there to Huge Jar thanks to a fairly wild overtake attempt. But fortune favours the brave, and he will keep trying. I'm afraid I don't know the motto of the state of Ohio. I was just trying to think if I knew it, but I definitely don't. Arcane is in 3rd, and now wall riding on the way out of the south edge of the circuit, and certainly looking at that little bit leery, little bit wild on the circuit, and losing ground here to Huge Jar, whose main target here is a potential win behind TD's. They're on the same tyres, similar levels of fuel, so this will be a straight fight for the finish. Looks like we will have one more lap after this one for the leaders, and we'll see if we tick over to the 60-minute mark before the final drivers in the group come through. TD's very much ahead. If there is just that one more lap to go, yeah, there definitely will be one more lap to go then. I was way out with my calculation. Those safety car laps are super slow. So TD starts his final lap, followed by Huge Jar and Arcane. They will see Maxwell cross the line. We'll see Thrasher all go for this final lap. Soft tyres on Hyphy Honda, he's absolutely trashing them. 7th, 8th and 9th go through. That is Rue, Saito and Lalo Kills, who comes through back into 8th place. Does he? Might have just been over the apex there through the first corner. Deviant is in 10th, and we're just, I think, are we going to get everybody home? No, I don't think we are. I think we're going to see Silo come through with about 8 seconds to go. I think Silo is going to be the first of our checkered flag drivers to come through. Silo in 13th place, might even slow down to the line, but no, 13th place for Silo. 14th, a hard fought position there for Golden Oracle. It will be no better than 14th for him. But TD's is so far now and sufficiently far ahead of Huge Jar. I don't think we've got a competition for the win on the final lap. Arcane, with those couple mistakes towards the end, as Thrasher has brought himself up into 4th place. Maxwell, can he hold on against championship leading Hyphy Honda to the finish? That's going to be a significant challenge for the Jaguar driver. Behind them, Lelo Kills has now gapped our Saito, and looks like it's definitely going to be Hyphy Honda versus Maxwell to see us out on this final lap. As long as no one makes any unexpected mistakes, Hyphy Honda will definitely be feeling the tyre wear, and he's actually limited to his rear left tyre. So he's struggling through those right-handers, and the only thing that will give some solace to Maxwell will be the fact that he he's got more grip on those tyres. He's calculated his fuel nicely as well, has Maxwell. Certainly, it's always nice to finish ahead of the championship leader. So if Maxwell can do it, and Rue is looking like he might be thinking about a challenge. Out of the final corner though, comes T-Deeds to take the Saint Croix penultimate race of the championship. T-Deeds wins. A very strong and clean performance from T-Deeds. He will be very pleased with that one, I'm sure. Huge Jar performs very nicely into 2nd, and Arcane picks up a 1-second penalty on the final run through to finish in 3rd. They'll add the 2nd at the end of the race. Thrasher in 4th. Maxwell came home in 5th place. We're just ahead of Hyphy Honda and Rue. I thought I called it too soon, but Maxwell did complete the run. Lelo Kills then in 8th place. Divine, a hard-fought 9th place, and Slug, reserving for the Peugeot team, will come home and complete this one in 10th. We've seen a couple of drivers already home, but Kuroskai in 11th, our Saito in 12th. But it is all about T-Deeds in the F22 inspired livery on the Lamborghini Huracan, who takes home the penultimate race of the championship. I will talk to you at the start of the next race as to how that has all affected our championship standings. It's not a good day for our championship leader, possibly his worst day in the car this season so far, so it will become his discount race. Brilliant race from our drivers. Really high performance from a very difficult circuit. And we can't wait then to take in the final round at the Nürburgring Grand Prix, the Nürburgring Endurance 24-hour circuit configuration. That's it from me, Webbo. This is it from the championship tonight. Thank you so much for watching, for liking the video and subscribing on your way out. And I will catch you on the next race day.